my lovely ones, and welcome back to Inside number 23, my channel which is all about knitting and sewing and generally living the craftiest life possible. My name, if you don't know, is Katie, and you can find me pretty much everywhere on the interwebs as Miss Ravlery, although if you want regular updates I would recommend following me on Instagram, as that's where I am the most active. We also have a Ravlery group for the podcast where you can get involved in cows and giveaways and just be a part of our beautiful online family, which is always fun. If you want any information about anything that I talk about in today's episode, just check out the down bar. Just down here I put quite extensive notes as to everything that I talk about. And if you want to contact me regarding anything to do with the podcast, please drop me an email. My email is katie@inside23.com. I'm coming to you as always from Hertfordshire, just north of London in the UK, where I live with my husband Emrys, our lovely pug puppy Rowe, and I'm just really excited to be back with you again this week. That's all my spiel out of the way. Let's get on to having a little bit of chat about this week just gone. My goodness, I always think that at this point, I always say it's been so busy. I've been so busy inside number 23 this week. But it's kind of been another extreme of busyness at the moment. Work has been incredibly hectic recently. I'm actually heading to Birmingham this weekend for the trade event Stitches. I will be there with one of my colleagues representing Tilly and the Buttons, whom I work for, an absolutely incredible indie pattern designing company. It's a wonderful place to work, and I am excited, but the amount of prep that goes in before you go to an event like that is quite extensive, so that has been taking up pretty much every ounce of my spare energy over the past week, as it's coming up to the point where everything's going to be happening. That is unfortunately why I will not be at Unravel this weekend. I am terribly disappointed to not be at Unravel. It's one of my favourite ever yarn festivals. I absolutely love it. My dear friend Amy of Stranded Dye Works will be vending, so if you do go and give her a hug, show her some love and some support. She is wonderful, and she won't be vending, I don't think, at many other festivals, if any festivals, for the rest of the year. So go show her some love, but just go. It's a wonderful event, and I guarantee that you will have an absolutely marvellous time. In terms of other things that I'm going to be doing recently, this next couple of months is going to be pretty hectic. I'm also going to be with Tilly and the Buttons at the Knitting and Stitching show, which is going to be at Olympia in March. So do feel free to come and say hi and look at all of the beautiful Tilly and the Buttons patterns that we all have there. It's very, very exciting. To be going to Knitting and Stitching. It's not a show that I've ever actually been to, the one that's in Olympia. I have been to the one that was at Alexandra Palace, but never to the Olympia one. And again, a lot of prep has been going into the event, and we're very excited to see all of you guys there. And it'll be, yeah, it'll just be a really nice, fun time out in London if you fancy that type of thing. General admin for the podcast. I am hosting a knit along at the moment, which I affectionately named the Wang-along, which is a knit along for any pattern by Michel Wang, the incredible designer Michel Wang, whom I adore. I think she's absolutely incredible, and that will be running for the next 3 months, so until the end of April. And it's basically for any garment that Michelle has designed. So unfortunately her accessories are not included in the cowl, but you don't have to worry about finishing. It's just about getting involved. And if you want to know a little bit more, head over to the Inside number 23 Ravlery group. And there are plenty of details there and lots of people getting involved to get you inspired in the cowl. So yes, head over there for more information. Other things that have been going on at the moment. For those of you who don't know, number 23, where I live with my lovely husband and our beautiful dog baby, we bought this house in a very, very derelict state, I think 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I think we've been living here for 3 years now, but I'm not entirely sure because my brain feels like Swiss cheese at the moment and a lot of things are falling out of the holes. But we've done a lot of work to this place since we moved in, and that's kind of come to a grinding halt recently just because, you know, life gets in the way. Finances are slightly restrictive when you've been doing a lot of renovation on a house, but very excitingly we are actually doing up our downstairs bathroom, which we haven't redone since being here, and it's so so exciting. I can't tell you, I have been longing for this day since we moved in to be able to be in a position to do it. So it's very exciting that it's happening, but I had to wait for the delivery of everything to come for the renovations today, and that was stressful because they were late and I've got other things to do, but we finally have the stuff, and quite excitingly it is going to get done whilst I'm at Birmingham. So I will be going away to Birmingham and coming back to a beautiful shiny new downstairs bathroom, so I'm very excited about this. But as if things could not be more complicated, work is busy, life is busy. And on top of all of that, obviously it's been Valentine's Day as well. So Emrys and I wanted to spend a bit of time together, so you have to make more time for doing the things that you like with the people that you love. And I was always a fan of Valentine's Day, even when I was single, and I was single for a very, very long time. Emrys was my first kind of official relationship with someone whom I could spend Valentine's Day with, but I always enjoyed the idea of showing people that you love them, whether it's your significant other or your friends or just yourself, just being nice to yourself on Valentine's Day. So if you did partake in the celebrations, I hope that you had a wonderful time, and it's a nice thing as well because we're basically already halfway through February. This month flies by after the lengthiness of January, so it's all good. I think I'm going to stop waffling on though about all of these bits and pieces and actually crack on with a bit of yarny content for you. So I am going to preface the entire episode with saying there hasn't been any sewing this week. I have managed to do a fair amount of knitting on a few projects, but basically all I'm going to be talking about this week is my knitting, and then I do have a few cheeky stash enhancements as well. But let's jump straight in with what I'm wearing today, and I'm very proud to say that I'm wearing a 100% me-made outfit. The more that I strive for a me-made wardrobe, the more outfits that I seem to be able to create when I put new things into the wardrobe, and this particular outfit is making me very happy. You may not be able to tell, but this is my Melilot shirt. This is a pattern by Deer and Doe Patterns, and I am just going to take off my other me-made object so that you can see it a little bit better. It has these most adorable little short sleeves and a lovely Peter Pan collar, and it's actually made out of this beautiful crepe viscose, which was a Rifle Paper Company fabric that I purchased at when I was in New York at the Brooklyn General store. And I love this project. I've actually paired it this week with my most recently completed, not my most recently completed, but one of my recently completed Cleo dresses, a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons, which I have now made 3 of, and I have one that is still in pieces waiting to be sewn up. This is just my denim version, and I live in this version. I do think I need to make some more denim Cleos, possibly in different colours of denim, because I reach for this every single day. But I think it pairs really nicely with the Melilot shirt, and I love this little sleeve detail. It doesn't actually have sleeves, it has this dropped sleeve that's a part of the design with just a little cuff on it, so it's very easy to sew and put together, and it's just a lovely, lovely thing. It makes me very, very happy to wear it. Just having a bit of a wardrobe change again, getting back into my full ensemble, because my next what am I wearing is really leading us into what's on my needles, because as you can probably tell, I have finished my forest cardigan, and I could not be happier with it. I shared this with you last week in its completed state. I had done all of the knitting, but I had yet to block the rib band that goes around the entirety of the cardigan, and I blocked that this week. It dried, I think, 2 days ago, and I have worn it every single day since then, including last night when I wore it out to a restaurant for Valentine's Day, because I love it so much. I can just tell it's going to be a hugely practical garment and something that I reach for all the time, and I couldn't be happier because a fair amount of work went into it. So it's difficult for you to see it in its full glory whilst I'm sitting down, so I'm going to pop up again, but it is going to be relatively difficult for me to show you the entire thing because it's pretty huge. So my cardigan is knit out of Knit Picks Tweed in the Autumn Heather colourway. It has this beautiful cable design which runs down the entirety of the sleeves, and it's also some detailing on the pockets, the cable, and I love it so much. It is now completely blocked, so my lovely rib panel is just sitting quite beautifully. I'm very, very happy with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up on the chair just to be able to show you the bottom detail if I can. This isn't awkward at all, is it? But as you can see, it has the cable detailing on the pockets, and it has dropped slightly at the back because it goes, as you can see, it's almost as long as my skirt, which is just above my knee. It's a few inches above my knee. This basically sits at the same level. The back has dropped more than the rib at the front, but I don't mind that hugely. I think it looks quite cute, and I do think that this is going to kind of drop and stretch. It is a relaxed garment, but scooch around just to show you the other pocket. I appreciate this is incredibly awkward, so I am still here. I'm up here, if you can just hear my voice. These pockets, I was so worried about how they would look, that they were gaping when I blocked this garment out and when it was laying flat. But as you can see, that really isn't a problem when it is stretched over my hip. The pocket, I think it gapes ever so slightly, but it's really not noticeable, so I don't actually need to do anything with these pockets, I don't think. You can see it flares out a tiny bit here on the sides. I think you can tell that, but it's not something that's bothering me. I think if they stretch out more during usage, I may look to resolve it, but for now, just because I want to wear it so much already, I'm quite happy with leaving it as is. Right. I'm coming back down. Oh my goodness, I'm quite flustered now after doing that because I've got two massive studio lights shining on me and I'm wearing a very heavyweight worsted weight cardigan and prancing all about on the top of a chair. But yes, it's completely finished. I'm really, really enjoying wearing it. One thing that I would say that is slightly disappointing in terms of the fit, and I don't think this is a problem really, I think it's just me overthinking it slightly, and it is definitely just part of the design. It's very oversized, it's very relaxed, but what I do find is that it looks most pleasing when the fronts kind of sit directly kind of over my chest in this way. When I wear it, what happens is this tends to happen, and then you get these kind of baggy bits of fabric on the side, which I don't think is as pleasing, so I do tend to adjust it quite a lot. I think perhaps you could, you know, put a little fastening in the front, but I don't think that that would look quite nice. I think I prefer it to be open, but I wish it didn't kind of drop as much and create these weird kind of wings. But that really is just a kind of pernickety thing because the rest of the design is so lovely and I really do enjoy wearing it. And yeah, it's a triumph. It's an utter triumph, and to have a massive cardigan off my needles already this year just feels amazing. So I'm very, very happy with it. So that's my one finished object for this week, my finished object, you might say. I have a couple of works in progress in terms of my knitting. The first one, they're both projects that you've seen before, but the first one that I'm going to talk about is my my flora mittens. So you may remember from last week's episode that I had cast on my second pair of mittens from the Selby Mitten Club, the Flora mittens. I had knit my original pair of Selby mittens in grey and burgundy Navia Trio yarn, and I was casting on the Flora mittens in this lovely kind of taupey brown and a natural colour. And you might think that they look a little bit different than they did last week, because here's what I have now. So last week I had a mitten that was about this long. This week it's decreased in size somewhat. I'm not entirely sure if you can tell that this has shrunk since last week, but it has. And the reason behind that is that I actually managed to knit considerably more of this mitten. I was knitting almost all the way up to where you put your stitches on a holder for the thumb. So I was kind of working away at this very effectively, but I realised that I really, really didn't like the fact that I had used this white colour as the background and this kind of brown, taupey brown colour as the foreground colour as the detailing. The more that I did it, the more that I realised it just wasn't really working for me, and that what I really should have done is inverted the colours. So I did what I always do in times of indecision and upset. I ripped the entire thing out and I started again, because what is the point of spending hours and hours and hours knitting something when you're not entirely happy with how it looks? So I am already so much happier with how this looks, with the white colour being for the detailing and the kind of taupey colour as being the background. I think it looks really, really sweet. But yes, that is a little bit of a disappointment, because it's obviously shrunk significantly from week to week. But I think after the great frogging of 2017, I have completely lost any fear of ripping back projects. I know that eventually it will be for the best, and essentially, if you're going to put so much time and effort into a knitting project, it has to be perfect. If it's not, if you're not enjoying it when you're working on it, you won't enjoy it when it's finished. So that is living in my lovely little pug pixie yarn bag, and hopefully this week we'll see a little bit more growth with it, because I would love to have another pair of mittens off the needles already. That would be quite wonderful. But my real project that I've been working on this week is one that I've actually surprised myself with how much I managed to get done. I convinced myself that this project was going to take me eons to finish, just because of the complexity of it, but I have now put a significant dent in this project, and I'm really, really thrilled and proud of myself. It is my personal project for the Wang-along, my knit-along for Michele Wang's garment patterns. And I have been working on her Rowe cardigan, which is a beautiful, heavily cabled, oversized cardigan. It's the other project from my selected Make 9 for this year that is an oversized cardigan. I finished this one already, but this one is the second kind of very big, bulky, gorgeous, kind of almost dressing gown feeling cardigan, which I love to wear around the house and at work, so I definitely wanted to have a couple of those. And I'm very, very happy to say I have completed the back panel. Look at it. Oh my goodness, it's just, I mean, this is 3 different cable charts that are put together to create this. The yarn I'm using, I'm going to start off with that, because it's kind of difficult to hold all of these, because this has become such a beast. It is a beast, a beautiful beast, but a beast nonetheless. The yarn that I am using is the yarn specified for this pattern. It is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and this is the Truffle Hunt colourway, and I adore this yarn. I've said before, it's really difficult to tell exactly what colour this is. It's kind of a grey brown with blue and white flecks. It's utterly stunning, and working with this has made me so happy. I genuinely feel that this garment is just going to be so special, and I'm going to keep it forever and ever and ever, because of the amount of effort that's gone into it, but also the yarn is beautiful. But yes, this is the back piece, which I have now completed. Oh my goodness. So look at those cables. It's really kind of got 3 different cabled sections on it. It has the smaller cable sections on either side, and then this large central panel down the middle with the big epic cables. It also has a bit of seed stitch kind of texture on either side. But I genuinely didn't think that this would get knitted up as much, as quickly as it did. This week kind of took me by surprise in how much of this I was able to do, because when I shared it with you last week, I was kind of down here somewhere. I was maybe about here-ish. So I've managed to knit all of this in a week. So yeah, it just shows that once I got one large project off the needles, the other one will be very soon to follow, I think. As you can see, it does still have some live stitches at the top. I've still got those on my needle because I literally just finished casting this off last night. So I haven't put those on a holder or scrap yarn yet because I haven't cast on the next section of the cardigan. I've just finished this. But this is the majority of the knitting that's done, if you think about it. This is the massive chunk that would have probably taken me the longest. So I'm really, really, really proud that it's done. And just by kind of holding it up to myself, I know it's going to be just such a gorgeous thing to wear. If I already enjoy wearing the forest cardigan, this is just going to be a step up in terms of me wanting to wear it. But yes, there it is. It's epic. It's utterly epic. And I'm so proud that I've already got the back finished. It just shows if you are slightly more monogamous with a big project like this, you'd be surprised at how much you end up getting done. Oh, it's glorious. And I will most definitely be getting either a sleeve or one of the fronts cast on as soon as possible, because I want to get this off the needles. However much I enjoy working on it, because I really, really love the cabling, I would absolutely love it to get this cast off just so that I can wear it, and just so that I can have that sense of achievement that I've already finished 2 massive garments, and it's only February, you know. Not that I think that I will actually finish it this month, because that would be pretty insane. One thing that I wanted to say about the Rowe cardigan, I posted a picture of some of the cables on Instagram this week, and I got a question asking if I use a cable needle when I cable, and the answer to that is no, I don't. I learnt about a year or 2 ago how to cable without a cable needle, and it has utterly changed my life in terms of cabling. The speed at which you are able to knit cables without using a cable needle is just incredible. It's very, very life-changing when it comes to that kind of a design. So I would say if you do enjoy working with cables, if you can teach yourself how to cable without a cable needle, it's definitely worth doing. I am not going to be making a tutorial about that anytime soon. A couple of people have asked for that previously, but what I will try and do is find a similar tutorial on YouTube. I'm sure that there is something, and just include it in the show notes down below. But yes, if you can learn how to do it, I couldn't recommend it more highly, because it will change your speed so significantly when it comes to large projects that have cables. So for Michele Wang's cabling projects, it really is an invaluable tool, I would say. So yay! So moving on to a little bit of stash enhancement. I do have quite a few bits and pieces to share with you this week. I was a little bit naughty and I did treat myself to some lovely goodies, but I don't feel too guilty about it because I've had a hard week. And one thing that I do when I am feeling a bit glum about how much work I've been having to do and I'm very, very tired, if I have the resources available, if I have a little bit of extra cash that I haven't yet spent, rather than spending it on something silly, I spend it on something worthwhile, like yarn and pattern books. I know a lot of people would think those are silly purchases, but I personally don't. But I was very lucky to pick up some really gorgeous things this week. A recent acquisition that actually arrived in the post this morning is the most recent edition of Pom Pom Quarterly, and this is the spring edition for 2018. It is number 24, and I've been incredibly excited about this edition of Pom Pom coming out since I saw some of the patterns announced on Instagram. For one, I love the kind of fresh, clean, bright quality of all of the photos. I think they are wonderful. But can we just talk about this cover sweater? Oh my goodness, I love the simplicity of it, that it's kind of a colour work sweater, but not. It's just, look at it, it's beautiful. I'm a little bit obsessed with it, so I think that that's probably way up there in terms of the projects that I want to work on. I'm also a very big fan of this hat. I love that hat. I think that that's gorgeous. And it's just, I often find that with spring and summer editions of magazines that I really don't gel with them as much as I do with the autumn winter ones. I'm very much an autumn winter kind of girl when it comes to the type of projects that I like to work on. But Pom Pom, they really do surprise me that they don't just turn their spring summer editions into, and now we have lots of strappy tops, because I will never knit myself a tank top. I just won't. I would much rather knit a full sweater than a tank top, and I just know that I wouldn't wear it. And I know that there are lots of people who do wear those, but the thing that I love about Pom Pom is that it still has things like full sweater garments, even in the spring and sometimes even the summer editions. It doesn't just kind of turn into strange projects that I would probably never wear or use just because it's out of sweater season. But yes, I'm a big fan of Pom Pom Quarterly, as I've said many a time before, and I think that this edition, although I have not yet had time to read through it properly, is going to be a really lovely one again. So yay, Pom Pom. Very excitingly, there was a pattern book release this week, which I've been looking forward to for a very long time, and I couldn't actually get to the official launch of this book, which was hosted at Wild and Woolly this week just gone. It was last weekend, and it's been a bit hectic, and I didn't actually end up getting to go to the launch event to pick up a copy of the book, but I did order one online, and I'm very excited that I am the proud owner of a copy of Marlisle, A New Direction in Knitting, and I'm so excited about this book. I met Anna, the author of this collection of patterns, at my visit to Wild and Woolly when I went at the beginning of this year, and picked up a couple of lovely bits and pieces, and we had a really gorgeous chat. She is a wonderful person, so kind and so talented. And so when she was talking about releasing this book, which we talked about briefly in that kind of conversation, I just knew that I would need to pick up a copy for myself. And I have not yet had the chance to read through this properly either, but I will most definitely be using this book as one of the first books that I will be reviewing this year for my new segment, Reviewing the Situation, which will be coming up soon once I get a little bit more time to actually read through this entire book and a couple of other books, and then sit down and film. So watch this space for that. So that will be an opportunity to go into a lot more detail as to what I think about every aspect of the book. But can we just talk about the patterns in here to start off with? Not only do I want to wear everything that's in this book, I was showing it to Emrys last night, and he wants almost every pattern in this book to be knitted for him as well. Marlisle, in case you don't know, is Anna's technique of combining Fair Isle and marled knitting. So you use two different kinds of yarn, but you can produce projects that essentially have three different colours by a combination of colour work and marling the yarn. And it's so inspiring. Literally, there's the most special project, I think, does have to be the trembling sweater, which is this one. Look at it. Oh my word, it's stunning. Emrys wants that and I want that, so maybe at some point in the future, if I can get my act together, maybe we'll end up with his and her sweaters that are both that pattern, just knit out of different colourways. But the thing that I do love about a lot of Anna's patterns is that they do look like they would really work for both guys and girls, because they're just so versatile and beautiful. My other personal pick at the moment is the S shawl, and those of you who know me will know that I'm not exactly a big shawl wearer unless the shawls are very oversized and squishy, and look at this. You can't really get more oversized and squishy than this. Emrys also wants one of these shawls for himself, so maybe there will be 2 of those in our future as well. It's exciting because it's giving me ideas for my shopping list for Edinburgh Yarn Festival in terms of what I want to pick up, because I want to be very specific in terms of my shopping there to make sure that I do pick things up that are for specific projects rather than just, ooh, look at the pretty nice things. So I'm very, very excited about dipping into this properly. And I know that Anna will be at Unravel this weekend as well. So if you are going, go and tell her how much you love her book and say hi from me, because she's amazing. But yes, I just love it. It's beautiful. Get this. It's not even a full review and I'm already telling you to get the book. One more book. One more pattern book arrived this week, and I am very late in the game when it comes to this book. A lot of people have already been talking about it, but for some reason it completely slipped off my radar in terms of actually purchasing it, and I could not be more pleased that I finally have a copy of it. I think it is wonderful, and that is Carrie Westerman's new book, This Thing of Paper. There's a reason that so many people have been talking about this book. It is amazing. I believe Carrie Westerman created a Kickstarter campaign for getting this book published, and the amount of money raised was so much because so many people obviously wanted to have a beautiful collection of Carrie's patterns that it completely blew them away, I think, the amount that was able to be raised for this book. But it's more than just a pattern collection, it's also a collection of essays, because Carrie Westerman is an incredibly prolific knitter, but also she is a very academic person, and I believe that she studied it's like the written word, I believe. I'm not going to be able to explain this very clearly, so I apologise, but this book is a combination of her love of books and manuscripts with her love of knitting, and all of the projects in here, I believe that there are 11 patterns in here, are all inspired by different forms of the written word or the printed word, and every single part of the book, before each pattern, you get an essay about particular things. I just love it. I've been taking this book to and from work with me and reading it on my commute, and it is just such a wonderful part of the day. She is an incredible writer. If you read her blog, you will know her kind of turn of phrase is very, very familiar and warm, and she's just an absolute joy to read her words, and her patterns are outstanding. I genuinely want to make pretty much every single pattern in this book. The ones that are jumping out at me straight away are the vellum cardigan, which is this colourwork yoke cardigan. Oh, beautiful. She has some mittens in here, she has quite a few different shawls in here, some mittens, and oh, look at those. Look at them. Just I can't stop myself from just looking through this collection and losing my heart to pretty much every single pattern that's included. It is stunning, and I must say I've always been a fan of Carrie Westerman from afar. I haven't knitted one of her patterns before, but she has an incredible online presence in terms of her blog and her Instagram feed. If you don't follow her on Instagram, I would very, very much recommend it, because she has a stunning feed that's filled with obviously her beautiful knitting projects, but lots of other things, plus she's just a beautiful human being inside and out, so she has a very, very aesthetically pleasing Instagram feed, so I'd very, very much recommend following her and buying this collection. I think this is very, very special, and I will most definitely be doing a full review of this book as well, just because I'm a little bit obsessed with it, but I do want to finish my reading of the entire thing before I do a full review, just because I want to do it justice, because it's a beautiful book. And the other thing that I love is it's a little bit smaller so it's kind of happy handbag size. It's very easy to pop into your handbag and take with you around, which I've been doing a lot, so yay. The next part of my stash enhancement is yarny, fabricy goodness, which is very, very exciting. But leading on quite nicely from Carrie Westerman's book, This Thing of Paper, I did purchase some yarn this week, which was very, very heavily influenced by Carrie in terms of why I purchased it. I must admit, since reading her book, I have been a little bit of a stalker of Carrie Westerman on Instagram, and also going through her entire back catalogue of patterns on Ravlery. As a designer, she has some incredible patterns out there, so I'd very much recommend that you take a look at all of her previous designs. But one thing that I kept coming back to on her Instagram feed, like I said, it's beautiful, and you can lose yourself for hours just looking through her gorgeous photos, is a particular project that she has shared a couple of different times that just makes my heart so happy. And I found out that this particular pattern is called, and again, forgive me because you know what I'm like about pronouncing things wrong, but it is the Lausavisa jumper, I believe. Okay, I'm going to put a picture so that you can see it and see how stunning it is and how beautiful. And I have been dreaming about this sweater and how gorgeous it is, and those of you who have been watching for a little while will know that I've been talking about getting back into some colourwork projects, particularly garments, after knitting my Selbu mittens, because I used to knit a fair amount of colourwork, but it's all kind of gone by the board. I've been wooed by texture and cables, and colourwork hasn't been kind of number one on my agenda. But this particular sweater just blew me away. I think that it's a really, really lovely piece, and in particular I love that it is colour work but kind of non-conventional. It still has a modern twist to it, and it just looks beautiful on Carrie. I think she looks stunning in the pictures of her wearing this sweater, which is always a reason why I want to make something, if I can see how beautiful it looks on a person. So I convinced myself that I must knit this pattern. Now at the moment, this sweater was actually designed by Carrie specifically for Knit Now magazine, which obviously is not being sold in the shops anymore. It's a back issue. I don't know whether or not it's still available in print on their website, but they also do a digital copy. So I bought the entire magazine, the digital version of it, and you can download a free application on your phone. I downloaded it. I have an iPhone. I'm not sure if it's available on Android. Figure it out yourself, but it can be viewed on a computer. I just like to have it on my phone for the convenience of it. The only thing that's slightly irritating is you can't actually print it out from this app, because I believe it's just to prevent you being able to distribute a magazine that was in print and you've bought a digital copy. It makes sense that you can't print it out, but it's obviously a little bit irritating that you always have to go to your phone in order to see the pattern. But I love this pattern so much that I don't mind. I bought the pattern because I thought I will do this eventually. I'm going to cast this on eventually. It might not be right away, but I'm going to keep it for a rainy day when I just am inspired to knit a colourwork sweater. That lasted for about 24 hours because the next day I put in an order and I bought a whole load of yarn for it. So you will see from the version that Carrie knit, she has used some really gorgeous vibrant colours, lots of bright blues and yellows, and it is stunning. My colour palette is completely different to the one that this pattern had originally, just because I knew however beautiful the blue version of this sweater was, it wouldn't be something that I would reach for and wear on a regular basis. So I went for a colour palette that is very, very different, but that makes me incredibly happy. This is knit out of a Lopi yarn. It's knit out of Ala Floss Lopi, which is an Icelandic yarn, and it is quite heavy. It's, I think, a chunky weight yarn or kind of heavy Aran, and so gorgeous. I actually bought this yarn from Wool Warehouse. They were the only supplier of this yarn online where I could find all of the colours that I wanted in stock. I originally thought that I needed to purchase Let Lopi, which is the heavy weight but not as heavy as this yarn weight of Lopi yarn. It's slightly less heavy than this yarn. Goodness, I can't speak at all today. And lots of places had Let Lopi available in the full spectrum of colours, but I was slightly more limited with this heavier weight yarn, with the Alafos Lopi. So I purchased from Wool Warehouse. I haven't actually purchased from them before, but they were incredibly prompt at sending me my yarn, and they also sent it to me in this lovely kind of chiffony bag, which is nice because I can pop it all in here and not have to worry about it getting lost or dusty or anything like that. But like I said, I've picked quite a different colour combination than is specified in the pattern originally. So I started off with the main colour. I picked this dark grey heathered yarn, which I think is beautiful. It's kind of a school jumper. In the UK we have a lot of school clothes that are in this particular colour, but I really love it. I think it will be very versatile and it will go with lots of things in my wardrobe. So I started off with that as kind of my main body jumper. So I have 6 different balls of this. It comes in 100 grams, so this is 100 grams, and I have 6 of those. You then have 3 different contrasting colours for the yoke, and you get 1 ball of each of those. So I started off with another grey. This is kind of the, I think it's called light ash heathered colour. It's difficult to tell because on the ball bands they just have colour numbers. This is 0056 and this doesn't appear to have a colour number on it. Oh yes, 0058 on another one. But so I went for just a slightly lighter grey for my first contrast, so I was very happy with how those looked. I then went for the bright white colour for my second contrast. This is 0051, and I was a little worried that there wouldn't be a huge amount of contrast between these 3 colours, but I really do think that there is. On the website it looked like this colour was very close to the white, and I'm really thrilled that there's a proper kind of ombre going between these 3, and that they are all quite different, so I think that they will look lovely with the different colour work in the yoke. But I also picked up another colour for the yoke, and this is the colour that I'm really the most excited about. This colour. So this is, I think it was called Burnt Amber, and it's actually really full of different colours. There's some purple and red in here, but the main colour is this gorgeous kind of pumpkin spice orange. It's a very foxy colour, and look at these colours together. Does that not make your heart so happy? I can't tell you how excited I am about getting this sweater cast on in these colours. I think it's going to be absolutely scrumptious, and also because the yarn is of such a weight, I do think it's going to be a project that does knit up very quickly. It's on larger needles, and although it's colour work, it is going to knit up quickly just because of the size of the yarn. So yeah, I think that once I do get this started, I have no idea when that will be because obviously I have lots of other projects to be working on in the meantime, but when I do, I think it's going to be a bit of a fly off the needles kind of project, and I'm very excited. It's my first time ever using Lopi yarn, the Icelandic brand of yarn, and it is a little rustic to the touch, I would say. It's definitely not kind of 100% comfortable just against the skin, but that's absolutely fine because a lot of the time I do tend to wear long sleeve t-shirts and that type of thing, and I just think it will keep me incredibly warm. I've also heard that after blocking it does soften considerably, and as you wear it, it does soften. But the lovely thing about it more than anything is that I know that I'm going to spend all this time knitting a beautiful colourwork garment, and because of the yarn it's not going to pill, because this yarn is designed for longevity and for being sturdy, and to be honest, for a project that I am going to be spending as much time on as I am a colourwork project, even if it does knit up quickly, the idea of it not pilling is a real joy. So big thumbs up, big thumbs up for that. I have one more acquisition, one more stash enhancement that was actually a very sweet Valentine's Day gift from my husband. We had a lovely Valentine's Day actually. Emrys had the day off, so he spent most of his day at home with Rowe and doing some work and that type of thing, and I was working. It was a good day at work, we got a lot done, but we actually met in London. Once I'd finished work, we went out to Ping Pong, which is a restaurant that we went to just off Oxford Circus. We got dim sum together, and then we went to a place called Kingly Court, which is one of my favourite places in London. There's a little diner there, and we both got dessert there, which was lovely, and we headed home afterwards and had just a really cosy night in. So it was kind of like going out, but we weren't out too late, and we were still home to get tucked up cosily in bed and watch Call the Midwife. So everyone's a winner as far as I'm concerned. But he was incredibly kind, and he got me several little presents for Valentine's Day. We've always been the type of people who any excuse to spoil each other and show each other that we love each other, we will take it, be it Valentine's Day or just because we were feeling like treating the other person to something nice. But he very kindly actually picked me up some fabric that I have been wanting for a little while. It is for a specific project. It is to make one of the patterns that's going to be included in the new Tilly and the Buttons book, Stretch. And it is so gorgeous. I kind of can't get over how gorgeous it is and how happy it's making me. But it is this fabric. This is crushed stretch velvet in this incredible red colourway. Look at the depth in that. Oh my lord. So this is enough to make a dress, and I am just so excited about this project. I think that this is going to be ridiculously over the top, but I love it. It also has a really good amount of stretch in it, which is perfect for what I want to make with it. But it's going to be so luxurious and so beautiful, and it was particularly appropriate for Valentine's Day, obviously, because of the red colour and everything like that. Hearts and Flowers Day, it seemed appropriate to be given this gorgeous scarlet coloured fabric. But one of the other reasons that I'm so excited about making a dress out of this fabric is that something that I have experienced over the past couple of years. To be honest, I think it's something that started after our wedding, when I got married. I was quite a different person when we got married in terms of the way I dressed, and how I would present myself to the world. And after my wedding, and then when we got Rowe, a lot of things kind of just felt less important to me in terms of how I looked and the type of person that I presented to the world. And it actually, I thought for a long time that it was a good thing that I wasn't dyeing my hair, that I wasn't spending a lot of time on my outfits, because at that point when we were getting married, I was dressing 100% vintage every single day, which is a lot of work when you're styling your hair and doing your makeup and wearing kind of foundation garments and then dresses and high heels and stockings and fancy coats and handbags. And I definitely wouldn't go back to that level of kind of high maintenance, I guess, because it was a lot of work and it did make me very happy at the time, but I'd rather spend at least some of that time on other things now. But I kind of went through a phase of thinking, well, all of that stuff isn't important and I shouldn't care about any of that, for various reasons. For one, because of the expense of it, and one, kind of feeling that it was a vanity, that it was silly to think about those kinds of things, which is one of the reasons why I stopped dyeing my hair. And then recently I started feeling quite low about my appearance, and looking back at photos of our wedding and how glamorous I looked, because obviously I did look pretty glamorous because I was the bride and I wanted to be the center of attention, I guess, and kind of having this feeling in my heart that I'm never going to look like that again, you know, almost in a really morbid way. It's all downhill from here. You know, you've had that special day and it's not going to be like that from now onwards. But I started to think about how silly that was, and how, you know, I've still got the rest of my life ahead of me, and it's incredibly unhealthy to think that you've had your best day when you've got so much more time left on this earth. And so I realized that it's okay to indulge yourself and to do things that might be seen as being a bit over the top or too glam if they make you happy, which is one of the reasons that I decided to go back to the salon and pay to get my hair professionally cut and coloured. It's one of the reasons why I painted my nails today, and I feel really confident now, and that's such a small thing, but I can't tell you how lovely it is to have kind of nice, freshly manicured nails. Even though I've just done them myself, I didn't have to pay an arm and a leg to get them done. But one of the reasons why I really wanted this fabric and to make a dress out of it is that I used to wear this kind of colour a lot. Very bright, vibrant reds, be the girl in the red dress and kind of not care. And recently I found myself shying away from those bold, vibrant colours. And a part of me thought, well, maybe it's because your colour palette has changed. But a big part of it is that I don't feel like I am worthy of having the attention that wearing a colour like this brings. And I have pictures of myself. One of my first handmade dresses that I wore on a regular basis was a beautiful red dress that I loved. And I want to get back to feeling like that person who can wear a red dress, a bright, vibrant red dress, and not care about what the rest of the world will think. So I'm hoping that this will be the start of a reawakening of a little bit of confidence in me. Plus it's just beautiful and it's so soft, and I know that I'll love to wear it because I'll just stroke it all day long. But yeah, there's a little insight as to the reason why sometimes sewing is, and knitting is, so good for the soul, because it can help you become the person that you really want to be inside. And sometimes it's difficult, but by showing a little bit of yourself on the outside, by what you choose to make and what you choose to wear, it can make a huge amount of difference. And yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. I'm very, very happy that I have a husband who would buy that type of thing for me. So there you go, guys. That is everything for our episode this week. I really, really hope that you've enjoyed spending a little bit of crafty time with me. I've had a lovely time chatting away to you all. If you have enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, and also click the subscribe button to be kept up to date as to when there are new videos on the channel. I will hopefully have a podcast for you next week, although I cannot guarantee it, unfortunately, because it will have been... From tomorrow, I will be working every single day until podcasting day next week, including travelling backwards and forwards from London and backwards and forwards from Birmingham. So I may be a little bit too tired in order to get an episode up for you next week. But if I don't, I may have a couple of other little bits of fun video footage that I can share with you instead. But whether I'm back with you next week or the week after, I hope you all have a wonderful time in the meantime, filled with all of the knitting and sewing and yummy things that make your heart happy. And I will catch up with you again soon. Bye!